Hi there. So this week I wanted to do a little add-on to a little project that we did not that long ago. It was called the Ava Pattern Design Project. And you'll remember that I walk you through all the steps to create this lovely little style. What I have been getting though is lots of questions about what happens if your dart volume isn't quite large enough in order to create enough volume in these three little darts. So what I want to do today is show you how you can create the darts using even additional volume that you take from somewhere else in the pattern. So in other words, we're not just going to be using the dart volume, which you can see here has been completely eliminated to create my three little darts up here. But what I want to show you is how you can actually make them larger if you want to have more volume in these darts, or create more volumes if you want to transfer these into gathers. So let's do that today. So the first thing you're going to do is do all the pattern work for the Ava top as it stands. So as I said, you might find that your dart volumes end up being very, very small. So you can still choose to do 3, but you might find that they're too small to actually stitch. So just do all the pattern design work as I've already shown you in the previous videos. What I want you to do after you've done all of that pattern work, I'm going to show you now how you can enlarge those little darts in order to create more volume than perhaps you originally had based on the dart. So what I'm going to do now is take a ruler, and I'm just going to draw a line that's going right through each of the center of the little dart volumes, and it's going to go through the center of the dart volume to the dart point, and then you're going to extend it all the way out to the bottom or to the edge of your pattern. So wherever it actually ends up landing on your pattern is absolutely okay. So I'm going to do this in red, so hopefully you can see this. And again, I'm just drawing that, joining those 2 points and connecting it until I hit the outside edge of the pattern. Now I'm working on the pattern that does not have any seam allowances on it, so I recommend that you do that. It makes it easier for development. You're going to do the same thing to the other 2 darts. Again, taking the center of the dart volume that you have, regardless of how small it might be, drawing it to the dart point, and then extending it out to the edge of the pattern wherever that may have landed for you. And I just have one more to do, and I'll do that one as well. Now what you're creating here are little slash lines that you can then open your pattern on. So all you're going to do now is cut through each of these slash lines. You're going to leave a little hinge here on the edge of the pattern. Mine happens to go to the hem, and one of them is at the side seams here. It doesn't matter where it lands for you. You just want to follow through with the center line of each of those darts. Now I'm going to slash through and make my pivot points at each of these points. Okay, so now you can see here that I've slashed on each of those lines. Now you're going to be able to see I'm going to be able to pivot my pattern so that I can open each of those darts in even further amount. So if I want to see quite a bit of gathers or more larger dart volume up here, by all means you can choose exactly how much you want to create. My darts were actually large enough to create 3 little darts, but if yours weren't, you can just choose however much you want to open it and then just secure it in place. Now clearly you're going to have to measure how much you're going to open it. I'm going to just choose 1/4 inch, and I'm just going to secure just temporarily somewhere along the pattern so that that opening is secured. So I'll just open each about 1/4 inch. As I said, you can choose exactly how much you want to do. You can even choose to do them differently if you want. So that's completely up to you. This is where your design sense comes into play. So just again, opening that one by about the same amount. Or, as I said, you can choose to open one more than the other. Now, all you need to do from this stage is insert some paper. You will need to true up your dart volume again for sure, because you will end up with slightly different dart roofs, because each of your new dart points are going to land in the center of each of these points. So you're going to draw new dart legs, and you're going to true up your pattern so that you get the correct dart group. So each of the new dart points here are going to be landing in the center of the opening that you created for the slash line. Now, I do also want to point out here that whenever you make these sort of adjustments to the pattern where you create flare or you open up your pattern with slash lines and spread them, the position of your balance lines change ever so slightly. So you always want to go back and make sure that you kind of redraft those lovely little balance lines. Now, mine have actually changed to be even more straight again, which is actually a nice thing. It makes it a little bit easier to transfer them onto the fabric when you're testing it. But you can see that's just ever so slightly gone back to a straight balance line, which is an okay thing. So always keep your eye on that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of this pattern work, and I'll be back to show you exactly what it will look like in the end. Okay, so I've completed the pattern work, and you can see now that the dart volumes are quite a bit larger than what we originally started with. So if you were kind of struggling trying to get the right amount of dart volume, I hope that this particular method is going to help you achieve the look that you want. As I said before in one of the previous videos, you can definitely use the same method to create similar styles or other styling elements. So for example, instead of darts, you can actually create gathers instead. Instead of actually stitching the darts, you can create pleats instead. So you can get varying looks this way. So I hope you found that helpful and it answers any of the questions that you may have had previously.